So before I get this video started, I just want to wish everyone a happy Easter to you and your families. I hope you guys have a good day. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have an article from Fierce Wireless. This is an older article back from 2018. I will leave it in the description down below. Now, the reason I have pulled up this article is because, and I hope you guys stick around for the video because it's going to be a pretty good one, is because there's a lot of arguing back and forth on should T-Mobile own the assets, should they continue leasing the assets in terms of the backhaul, and how do they fare in competition with the other MNOs that actually are starting to own the assets, right? So I want to kind of backtrack to this because during LTE and even later in the HSPA days, right, T-Mobile leased lit fiber. That's all they've been leasing, right? They do some dark fiber, but it's always been lit fiber. They've done it with Crown Castle. They're working with roughly around 52 partners on this whole third-party leasing. Now, let's talk competition, right? A lot of people are saying that T-Mobile can't compete against the competition. Well, who was the leading growth story during LTE? It was T-Mobile, and they did that on a leased backhaul model. Who is starting now, since the merger integration and everything and churn's coming down, who is starting to become the growth leader again? It's T-Mobile on a leased backhaul model. See, some people, they buy cars, some people lease cars, right? But as long as it gets them from A to B, they don't really, they don't really care about the leasing or the buying. It's just as long as it gets it from A to B, right? Now, in this case, whether it's owned or leased, the average consumer doesn't care as long as it gets them, from A to B. As long as they can send a text, call, whatever, they don't care, right? A lot of average consumers don't even know what backhaul is or what it does, right? They don't know. A lot of people just pick up the phone and they want it to work. That's the average consumer. So in this competitive space, and it's getting more competitive, T-Mobile is really increasing the backhaul at minimal increase to their operations. So I wanted to read off this brief paragraph here from the article. So separately, T-Mobile executives said earlier this week during investors conference event that the company now has the backhaul in place for 5G. So they did that back in 2018. It really didn't take much. They already had fiber running to the sites. They just needed the third parties to upgrade certain things. So T-Mobile has agreements with 52 fiber providers, most of which have been renegotiated to provide dramatic increases in capacity with minimal cost impact given the competitiveness of the fiber market. So in other words, if the current fiber provider is not willing to work with them, they just go to another one, in terms of competition. So T-Mobile noted its current fiber footprint is essentially already ready for a full nationwide deployment. So they had an understanding that once they launched N71 on the, on NR, they would need a fiber footprint increase. A fiber backhaul increase. And back then, they already had an understanding of what the T-Mobile Sprint merger would look like, that they would be able to get the N41. And they had, they were growing confident that they could get this deal passed even back then. So now, fast forward, the deal's done. It's the 3-year anniversary just passed. And a lot of new sites are also getting, upgraded to 10 gig backhaul now. This increase that you're seeing in this article was probably going from 500 megabits a second to a gig, right? That's already, or multi-gig. But now T-Mobile is striking deals or has already gotten these deals passed with these fiber providers to go to 10 gigs. Now there's a certain amount of sites that have already been upgraded to 10 gig backhaul. That's on the I posted that information on the members exclusive content. If you guys want to join that, a link to that will be in the description down below. So, the members, they know how many sites totally already have 10 gigs backhaul nationwide, and there's more coming. But the whole notion that T-Mobile can't compete because their fiber is leased and they don't own the actual assets, I think that's overblown, right? I really think that's overblown. When the company is ready, I think they will eventually own that own asset because the owner economics, they do make sense. But right now, T-Mobile isn't in a position to really go and lay fiber because there's still so much going on. They're still, technically in the merger integration. They're still trying to convert Sprint Keep sites. They're still trying to build out in rural. So there's a lot going on with the company, right? Once that's more stable, once that's like done and over with, and they've been in the position, with all of that completed for a few years, then they might take the journey on laying fiber, right? Just think about this. And a lot of people don't really look at it objectively. Just think about this. T-Mobile is guiding a free cash flow of $16 billion by 2025. That's more free cash flow than Verizon and AT&T will have in 2025. So T-Mobile will be free cash flow positive in 2025 to have the flexibility to make other purchases, like a fiber provider, right? In some cases, depending on the scale of that fiber provider, at that time, T-Mobile doesn't even have to merge with them. They can just outright buy them, right? They can make little purchases here and there. Of course, they're not going to be able to buy a Comcast or somebody like that has a huge presence, right? Where they can upgrade the infrastructure to fiber. But no, they could buy a small regional player here and there. They could start that, right? It's going to have to be a gradual increase because Verizon and AT&T have been doing it for so long, especially AT&T. They've been doing this for years. So they're going to have to gradually increase their fiber presence nationwide if they even want to do that, right? There's going to be a point in time where the entire executive team at T-Mobile is different, right? Currently, what's in place is going to be in place at least for 5 years, right? Mike Seaver just signed a contract. Neville's retiring. Ulf is replacing him. So I could see T-Mobile taking that same approach at least throughout this decade. And there might be a new leadership that'll be in place in the future that also is in favor of leased fiber. T-Mobile as a company may never actually own the fiber asset. They may never choose to because there's a lot of competition. Right? If you go into some of these urban markets, there's like five to six different fiber providers. And if one doesn't offer you a deal that you like, you just go to the next one. Someone will give you the deal. Somebody will take the business. So those are just my thoughts on that whole asset. It's T-Mobile is competing. They're taking customers. And like I said, the customer does not care if the fiber is owned or leased. Just like if a customer buys a car or leases a car, as long as it gets them from A to B, they don't care if it's bought or leased. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel, like, share, subscribe, follow the social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.